The Golden Globes this year is super competitive, especially in the female category. But overall, for even the shows and the male categories, is equally as competitive. And let's see who might win here. For Best TV Male Actor, Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Television Motion Picture, which is a mouthful. We have Colin Farrell in The Penguin, Richard Gadd in Baby Reindeer, Kevin Kline in Disclaimer, Cooper Koch in Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, Ewan McGregor, A Gentleman in Moscow, and Andrew Scott in Ripley. I don't know Andrew Scott, and I have not seen Ripley, so I cannot say if he's going to win or not. If you know Andrew Scott's work, if you've seen Ripley, please leave your comment below and tell us why we should check out the series and his performance, and if he does have a shot of winning the Golden Globe. Ewan McGregor, A Gentleman in Moscow. Ewan McGregor is one of those dudes, and I said this a lot about the female categories with separate actors in the female category. So, especially like Kate Winslet. Ewan McGregor is one of those guys, when you look at his full filmography, but let's say one day he gets like the Cecil B. DeMille Award from the Golden Globes. And people will say, what do you mean he got the Cecil B. DeMille Award? What has he done? And you just look at his IMDb page or his filmography. And you just look at they show clips of all the films he's done from Train Spotting on. And you just see everything he's done. You're going to say, wow, we had no clue. I do think he got screwed over by the Kenobi series. I think that Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus could have been really great with Ewan McGregor, but they screwed it up. Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilms over there, screwed it up because that Kenobi series could have been great, but they screwed that up. But it's not Ewan McGregor's fault because he's a fantastic actor. I don't think he'll win here. I don't think he's going to win for A Gentleman in Moscow. I think it was a well-received series, but I think there's other programs that's gotten a larger buzz. Cooper Koch, Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. Nicholas Chavez, who played the other Menendez brothers. He came from General Hospital. I know Nicholas's work because he was excellent on General Hospital. And people was telling me how great he was in Monsters, even though they never watched General Hospital. They said, who's that guy? It's like, I've been watching this guy for 4 years. He's great. And Cooper Koch was just as good. And I feel like because this is like his first nomination, I don't think he's going to win it. But I think because of the Menendez story is out in the press, from a pop culture standpoint, he could sneak in. He's like a dark horse to win. But I do think because he's so new and you got other people here ahead of him, I think he probably won't win. But he could surprise just because of the whole Menendez brothers story. Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline has been out of sight, out of mind for a long time. Kevin Kline was that dude. He was in A Fish Called Wanda. He was in Sophie's Choice. I remember when he married Phoebe Cates, because Phoebe Cates was coming off of Gremlins. And they was saying, like, Kevin Kline's marrying her. I was like, what? I didn't get Phoebe Cates. Because Kevin Kline looks so much older than her. He is older than her, but he's not that much older than her. But at that time, it's like, he's an old dude. Was he marrying her? But Kevin Kline's he's a very charismatic guy. He's a fantastic actor, but we haven't seen him in a long time. Kevin Kline virtually disappeared. Like those for years, I said, man, what happened to Kevin Kline? But this disclaimer thing is the same. It's the same project that Kate Blanchett is in. Kate Blanchett and Kevin Kline are both nominated for this show, and any other year they probably would have won. They probably would have won. If this was maybe last year, a couple of years ago, Kate Blanchett and Kevin Kline might have both won for Disclaimer. And because Kevin Kline has been gone for a long time, and I don't know if Kevin Kline ever won a Golden Globe. I think he did. I think back in the 80s, they really liked Kevin Kline back in the day. So I think he probably has a Golden Globe already. But the fact that he's been gone for so long and no one's seen him, hardly, he could win. Richard Gadd with Baby Reindeer. I didn't even know this show existed before the Emmys. And that thing swept the Emmys. I never heard of Baby Reindeer. I didn't even know the show even existed. That show popped up. It took all the Emmys, except for the where Shogun was nominated. It took it all, man. It took it all, and I still haven't seen the show, but the story is great. Like that dude, I think it's Gad. I think he was saying like he was down and out in his car when he wrote that initially when he wrote that script, and his life has totally changed. His life totally changed. He went from homeless to being an Emmy winner, and that was a beautiful speech. And I think, but the strength of that script and that show, and the strength of what he said at the Emmys, he might actually win the Golden Globe. He might actually win the Golden Globe just because of what happened at the Emmys. And the show is really well received. It doesn't matter if I saw it or not. The critics really appreciate that show. People who watched Baby Reindeer appreciate that show. It sounds like it's a dark show, but everything about his story, the show, the story of the show, the Emmy win, he has a good shot of winning lead actor. The person I want to win though is Colin Farrell in The Penguin. I love that series. Colin Farrell, after Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx, Colin Farrell kind of disappeared. He was still acting, but he was doing like Redbox movies and straight to DVD type movies. But I saw him, he popped up in Denzel Washington's Roman J. Esquire. I was like, oh, this Colin Farrell again. Hey, I haven't seen Colin in a long time. And then after that, I believe that's when he got the Batman, and he played the Penguin. He plays Oz Cobb, which is totally unrecognizable. It's like everything about him was just like, where's Colin? There's a Colin Farrell's in this movie. He's playing the Penguin. The Penguin. He talks like this. Man. And then they said it was going to make a Penguin series. I wasn't sure how they're going to do that without Batman. I'm telling you, man, if you love mob shows, don't think of it as a comic book show. It has nothing to do with Batman at all. Batman, you see Batman, maybe you get the essence of Batman at the beginning of the first episode and at the end of the last episode. Other than that, it's all the underbelly of Gotham. It's Arkham Asylum. It's the Penguin as a worker bee. He wasn't running Gotham yet. And Colin Farrell was he was in a fat suit. They pulled back his hair. He was wearing prosthetics. Like he changed his voice because there's a noise of this supervisor, the guy who ran an apartment in the 80s in New York. And he heard that voice and said, "This is the voice that I want." He has a club foot in the show, so he has to walk with a limp. His interaction with Kristen Milioti is fantastic. The only interaction between a male lead and a female lead I'd like better is Donald Glover and Maya Erskine and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But Sophia and Oz were romantic. They were friends at first, and it just all went to hell. But man, like, there are times in that show where you rooted for him as the Penguin. Like, the Penguin's a horrible person. Like, he's a villain. But there's points in that show where you rooted for him, and that's because of Colin's acting. There was a moment with his mom where you felt really bad for him, like what was going on with his mom. There was several points in that, right? But then there was something he did towards the end of that series where you realized, yeah, he is twisted like the Joker. He is twisted like the Riddler. But Colin Farrell's portrayal of that role was so good that you rooted for this guy who's really a bad person. But you rooted for Oz until you didn't. Oh, yeah. So and Colin Farrell with like 3 hours of makeup, he almost not lost his mind, but he said it was a lie because Colin Farrell, the fact that he even agreed to do that is crazy because Colin Farrell's a good looking dude. It's like, man, I got to put all this stuff on my face. Like, yeah, but he did it. And maybe because he's an older actor now, like if he was younger, he probably wouldn't have done it. But I think hey, why not? He's fantastic in it. Hopefully he's in the Batman Part 2. So I want Colin Farrell to win for all the work he put in the Penguin, but that damn baby reindeer can knock it out. So of all these actors, who do you think might win? From Colin Farrell, Richard Gere, Kevin Kline, Cooper Koch, Ewan McGregor, and Andrew Scott. And of all these shows, Baby Reindeer, The Penguin, Monsters, Gentleman in Moscow, Disclaimer, and Ripley, which one is your favorite? Which one is your absolute favorite? And which one is one that you're just like, I've seen better?